Today is Thursday, the 28th of April, and we're looking at Matthew chapter 16 today. So again, would encourage you, if you've not read the chapter, to hit pause and go ahead and read it. It is some new topics in this chapter, so a pretty dramatic turning point for the book of Matthew, and it's the first time Jesus talks about the church and Peter being the rock of the church. And it's the first time that Jesus starts to speak openly about his death and his crucifixion on the cross. So a couple pretty dramatic turns here, but this entire chapter is really focused on faith and begins with the Pharisees and the Sadducees that they want a sign. They demand a sign, and I think Jesus is making it clear that it's not about a sign, that the only sign they'll receive is a sign of Jonah. If you recall, Jonah spent 3 days in the belly of the whale. So a reference, I think, looking ahead towards the resurrection. Jesus will spend 3 days in the tomb and will be resurrected. So just a glimpse towards that. Jesus warns and sees the little faith of the no faith at the beginning of the Pharisees, Sadducees, and the little faith of the disciples. In verse 8, "Oh, ye of little faith." They were dealing with, Jesus warned them against the leaven of the Pharisees, Sadducees. The disciples immediately think they're talking about bread. But Jesus was talking about how their false teaching, just a little bit of their false teaching, can impact and have a big impact on the rest of the people, just as a little bit of yeast has some pretty dramatic impact on bread. And then we see in verse 15 and 16, this whole section on confessing faith in Christ. And, Jesus asked the disciples, "Who do the people say that the Son of Man is? Who do people say that I am?" And they reply, some say John the Baptist, others say Elijah, others Jeremiah, or another prophet. And then he turns to them, the disciples, and says, "But who do you say that I am?" And Peter has a beautiful confession. "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." And this question, "Who do you say that I am?" is a question I believe all of us need to come to a conclusion on. Who do you say that Jesus is? Is he who he is revealed in the Bible, or not? So it's a question you need to come to terms with, every one of you listening to this. But you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. And then Jesus talks about the church. This is Peter on, "You are the rock, and on you I will build my church." And really it's this verse, this section, that the Catholic faith would say made Peter their first pope. And that each pope has been in line similar to Peter. But that's, I don't want to go too much into that, but Jesus says, "I will build my church on you, Peter." And then we see Peter become a stumbling block. That Jesus is predicting his death. Peter says, "Far be it from you, Lord, this shall never happen." Saying that you shall never die and be rise again in the 3 days. We won't allow it. And so this, in one section, Peter, who is the stone, the rock, becomes a stumbling block to people. And then we get a glimpse of what this living out your faith looks like. And as we think back to the teaching in the Sermon on the Mount, where everything is kind of upside down, that Jesus came, his kingdom is not of this world. His kingdom, things of this world are not valued, and things that are not valued in this world are highly esteemed in his kingdom. And we see that in this last section that you must deny yourself, take up your cross, follow me. Whoever would save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. So what will it profit a man if he gains the world but forfeits his soul? So this whole aspect that it's things are different. It's not about each one of us. It's about others and serving others and denying yourself, being obedient to Christ. And I'm not focused on things of this earth, but on the spiritual things.
They're down there.
Have a great day, and we'll see you on here tomorrow with Matthew chapter 17. And yeah, let me know you're on here, what you're learning, that I pray the Spirit's pointing out certain verses to you that may cause you to ponder this whole concept of taking up your cross and following me. I've pondered that off and on throughout this year. What does that look like? It looks different for each one of us, but it's certainly not living a self-centered life. So God bless. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.